Good evening, everybody. Yeah, let's give it up for Lotus. We got to get pumped up here. You're about to hear some amazing music. Want to get ready for that. So welcome to the 30th annual Lotus World Music and Arts Festival at the Buskirk-Chumley Theater. So, show of hands, real quick. Who here in the house was at year one? I know we got people. Yay. Give it up for the year one people. All right. So put your hands up if you've been to at least 15 Lotuses in that. Look, amazing. All right, give yourselves a hand. So, Lotus is one of the things that makes Bloomington special, and we are all so glad that you are here to support the festival, but then also to support the fantastic musicians that you're going to hear tonight. So, I want to start with a few sort of opening remarks, and then we'll get the band here on stage. So this evening, we gratefully acknowledge the Native peoples on whose ancestral homelands we gather, as well as the diverse and vibrant Native communities who make their homes here today. Today, September 30th, it's National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, or Orange Shirt Day here in the US and Canada. This day is meant to spread awareness of the trauma inflicted on Native communities by the history of residential schools and to give voice to the stories of survivors. For 150 years, children of Native communities in the US and Canada were kidnapped and forced into residential schools with the end goal of eradicating their cultural heritage. Orange Shirt Day derives its name from the story of residential school survivor Phyllis Jack Webstead, whose orange shirt was taken from her on her first day at a Canadian residential school. With guidance from IU First Nations Educational and Cultural Center, Lotus is using their festival platform to help support the survivors and families impacted by this cultural crisis. In partnership with Bad Knees Tees and artist Michael Kobe Turtleheart, Lotus launched a pre-sale campaign of native-designed orange t-shirts in early September. 100% of the proceeds of those sales go to the Boarding School Healing Coalition, and they've already raised over $300 for the cause. If you'd like to purchase an orange t-shirt or make a donation, information's available at the festival store, which is located at the John Waldron Arts Center on the corner of 4th and Walnut, or you can go to the Boarding School Healing Coalition website at boardingschoolhealing.org. So as we get started, I want to thank the fans, like you, the volunteers, the bazillions of volunteers that it takes to put the festival on every year, sponsors, grantors, and donors who have made the 30th annual Lotus Festival possible. Lotus is incredibly grateful to the community, you, for your ongoing support and your presence here this evening. So a huge thank you to the big presenting sponsor, IU Bloomington. So let's give a hand to IU Bloomington for this year's presenting sponsor. And also a big thanks to the Buskirk-Chumley and their staff and their new ED, Steve, who I just met backstage, who's an amazing human. So for hosting tonight's concerts and all the festival activities in this gorgeous theater, we appreciate all the work they do to help make Lotus possible. Yeah, give it up for... The renovation of this theater was a labor of love. Back in the late 90s, it nearly fell apart. Community pulled together. It's still here. It's still kicking. It's still doing great work at over 100 years old. It's about community, and Lotus is about communities. So it's great that these two treasured community organizations come together during the Lotus Festival every year. And thanks to all of you, again, who are here and help make it all possible. So here's my pitch. And a little reminder to you that ticket sales only cover about 40% of what it costs to put on the Lotus Festival every year. And without your support and the other sponsors that help make the festival possible, Lotus wouldn't happen. So want to thank the granting organizations that are helped support Lotus this year. The National Endowment for the Arts. Let's put it together for the National Endowment for the Arts. And it looks like maybe we won't have a government shutdown, so maybe they can continue to make grants to arts organizations across the country. The Community Foundation of Bloomington and Monroe County, our local community foundation. Give it up for the Community Foundation. The Indiana Arts Commission. Give it up for the Indiana Arts Commission, please. Thank you. Bloom Magazine. Hive, give it up to Bloom, huge art supporter. Hive Restaurant, One World Catering, give it up to the One World family for their support, and many, many other sponsors that help make this festival happen. I'm supposed to point out the exits, and I'll do my best. Flight attendant, they're here, and they're here. There is not a flotation device under your seat as far as I know. Remember to tag Lotus in photos and videos that you take, at Lotus Indiana on Instagram and at Lotus Education and Arts Foundation on Facebook, hashtag 30 Years of Lotus. So enough of me. Let's get to the music, right? So now we're going to introduce our first artist to the stage, Kalos. Kalos is Eric McDonald and Jeremiah McLean, and for this tour, Bloomington's very own Joanna Hyde. They are masters of tradition who explore both the dark corners and the joyful exuberance of Celtic, Breton, and American musical traditions. Eric studied jazz and bluegrass mandolin at the Berklee College of Music before finding his way to dadgad, AKA Celtic tuned guitar. Jeremiah, in addition to being raised with Scottish roots, has studied Indonesian gamelan, West African drumming, and the music of minimalist composers Steve Reich and Philip Glass. And Joanna Hyde is an accomplished fiddler who has played with the Hydes, won for the Foxes, and with her husband Tag, lifting every tune with her stellar music aesthetic. And now, please join me in welcoming Kalos to the historic BCT stage.
Hello.
How are you all doing? Good. You're enjoying Lotus Fest? Woo!
We are too. One. The love that I have chosen, I therewith be content. The salt sea shall be frozen before that I repent. Repented I shall never until the day I die. For the lowlands of Holland entwine my love and I. My love he built a bonny ship, and he sailed her on the sea with 70 good mariners for to bear her company. But the weary winds began to rise, the seas began to howl, and my love and his bonny ship turned with her shins about. There shall neither quaff come on my head, nor comb come through my hair. There shall neither coal nor candlelight shine in my bower there, nor shall I love another one until the day I die. For the high winds and stormy seas twine my love and I. Hold your tongue, my daughter dear, be calm and be content. There are more men in Galloway, and ye not sore lament. Oh yes, there are more men in Galloway, but alas, there's none for me. For I Thank you all very, very much. That was a song called The Lowlands of Holland, a wonderful old traditional song, widely sung by many singers, and now us as well. And before that, we played a set of three jigs from three parts of the world. The first one was written by a fiddler named Pascal Gem, who lives in Quebec, which is my adopted homeland, and that's called Jig du Salon. And then we played an Irish tune called Joe Durains. Joe was a wonderful accordion player. That tune was for him. And then the last tune we played was called Da Lounge Bar. And it was written by a Norwegian fiddler about a bar, which is Da Lounge Bar, in Shetland. So that set of jigs goes pretty far. That apparently is where all the debauchery happens at the Shetland folk festivals. So, which legend would tell is much, you know. So that was a tune, it's our set of jigs that kind of represents a lot of what we're about. We like to play. Much of what we do is rooted in traditional music, but from all over. So the tune we played in that song there was an original tune by a friend of ours who some of you may know from around here. His name is Ben Schreiber, and a wonderful tune called Counterpoint, which we tried to sort of use to kind of like, you know, ended in a drowning, and we tried to like uplift you a little bit after that with that nice tune. So we're going to play you a tune now that we wrote called The Watchmaker, and it's inspired after a book called The Watchmaker's Apprentice. This is a polska. One, two. Thank you very much. We're going to re-enter the world of song now. It's always a funny thing, right? Tunes, songs. I had a bandmate who told me a story the other day. He showed up at a gig and there was a poster out in front that said the name of the band and then music and song. So with that in mind, this is a song. It's a song called The Whole House is Singing, written by Alistair Roberts. It's a lovely song of rejection and acceptance all through the veil of music.
I have to give it up to Eric for dealing with like more than twice as many strings as I have each night we play a gig. So thanks, Eric, for making the sacrifice. Tuning.
I know she rose early, 'cause I heard her sweet singing echoing over the flowering heath. She gathered the willow, the elder and the linden, the holly and the ivy, twine into a wreath. Oh, the notes you are forming, I long to possess them. They leap from your tongue and ascend on the breeze. Had I risen early from bed in the morning, then I would have hold of the notes you release. So she gave me the wreath, and she sang like a starling with my fingers entwined in her feathery hair. But she pushed me away and said, Alistair, darling, when a song's on the wind, it belongs to the air. So Polly, she sings as she sits at her spinning wheel, and Mary, she sings as she jumps with her robe. And Johnny, he sings while fetching the herring creel, and Billy, he sings as he rolls down
The whole house, the whole
The
house,
whole house is singing, the whole house is singing. The rafters are ringing and the timbers are thrown. The whole house is singing, the whole house is singing, the whole house is singing. And this is their song. We are stronger when the moon glows in the sky and causes the tide to rise and to rise, and the weed that is carried upon the drawing foam, we will gather to bedeck our happy home.
Thank you very much. I just want to mention that this has been a bit of a tour, an unusual tour for us, for Eric and I in particular, because there's a fellow here, Ryan McCassin. We played one of his tunes earlier. He's home getting a new kidney, and so in his stead, we're so lucky to have Joanna Hyde, who's here from Bloomington, and we are delighted to have her with us. And sadly, we're going to be saying goodbye after our second set tonight and driving home. But we've had a great time out in the Midwest. Eric and I are both from the east, from the northeast. Eric's from Montreal, and I live in Vermont. So we're fairly close together, and we just have been amazed at the length of the drives. Some of these drives. We drove from Chippewa Falls to Bloomington yesterday. And then tonight we're driving back to Chicago. I mean, I guess people do that here normally, but we're not used to that. So anyway, we're going to play some tunes. The first two are tunes that Eric wrote himself. The first one is called Grasshoppers for John McGann, wonderful mandolin instructor at the Berklee School of Music. Then we're going to do a tune for Spaceman Spiff, and we're going to finish it off with my commentary on the state of beers in Vermont, at least. Anyway, it's called Inappropriately Hoppy.
It's a point of contention in the band. One, two, three, four.
Thank you very much. Many of you may have heard the name Tony Cuff, perhaps, if you're a fan of Scottish or Celtic music. He was a singer and a guitarist in the band Ossian. Yeah, sometimes people go whoop and make noises, but I guess, well, at any rate, it was a long time ago, actually. It was a very popular band in the last century. Sort of dating me a little bit. However, it turns out Tony was a tune writer also, and he lived for quite a time in the East near Boston, where Eric grew up. We sometimes talk about Eric as a sort of a Tony Cuff cover band. And here is a tune that Tony wrote called Wendell's Wedding. Yeah, right, there's not a lot more information there. There was a guy called Wendell, and he got married. That's all we know. Maybe he didn't marry anybody, just married himself. Can you do that? Anyway, I just want to say, it's a great delight to play here at Lotus Fest, partly because you have such an amazing festival and it's such an amazing town. And everybody, literally everyone that we've encountered has been so incredibly nice. So it's a real delight to be here. I just want to say that right now. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very, very much. We're going to play one more set of tunes for you all. And we're going to be back at the church First Christian Church at 10:15.
The late night crowd.
Y'all going to be awake? Yeah. Sounds good. We'll see you there. But there's a lot more music here, too. And it's all, I mean, yesterday we stuck around and like the group that came after us just like completely bowled me over. And that's been happening time and time again. So I know that, you know, the amazingness of this festival is just going to continue on, and you're all going to have a great time. So don't move from your seats unless you have something else you want to go to, in which case get up and go to it. But a quick introduction. That's Jeremiah McLean on the piano and the accordion.
Thank you. That on the violin is Johanna Hyde.
And on guitar, mandolin, and vocals, that's Eric McDonald. And I will jump in here and say what an absolute delight and pleasure and honor it has been to share the road and all this music and our lovely rental car for the last 2 weeks. So thank you for having me along, and what a treat that I get to end up here in Bloomington, down the road from my own bed. So. But thank you.
We had a free upgrade to a BMW, so we've been enjoying it. We're going to end with a set of tunes off of our most recent album called Headland. It's a set of tunes we wrote for our kids. The first one Jeremiah wrote for my daughter Nia. She's going to be 3. I wrote the second tune for Jeremiah's whole family, but particularly his son Luke, who's 10. It's called Luke's New House. And the last tune Ryan, our absent fiddler, wrote for his son Roy Michael, who's also 10. Thank you.